Hey guys, welcome back to the Plinking Bros. In this episode, I'm going to take my newly acquired Marlin Model 60 from 1988 that apparently is not cycling very well, and see if we can restore it. Maybe get the wood grain back on here. This was painted by the person I got this from. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'd much rather see some wood, but I don't really want to do anything with that unless I can get this going. So we'll see if we can do a gun transformation. Well, you may be like, what in the world just happened? I didn't film the process, I got a little carried away, but I went ahead and I hit this with a random orbital sander. Started off with 80 grit and then finished off with 220. Got all that spray paint off. It's got pretty good grain on it, that 1980s wood. Showing again. I'm going to try to match that color in there, sort of. It's going to be a little lighter, using this pecan satin, and I might get a different rag. We're about to stain it right now. I did work on the bolt and oiled everything up, and I think it's working better, but I haven't ran it yet. But I guess I'll film this staining process, see what it looks like at the end, and see if it'll actually cycle too. I hope it's not touching anything. There's a little touch mark there. So let this dry, come back in like a couple minutes, do a second coat, I guess. I'll catch you guys once I'm done with it. I've just put the second coat on. I'm letting it dry out there for a little while, but I wanted to show you. Got the barrel here. This was all spray paint, the entire barrel. And on the end here, it was all rusted. Took some steel wool to that, acetone to the paint, and then steel wool to the rust. I mean, it's not perfect by any means whatsoever. I mean, it's definitely got, you know, it's got spots, like right there's a spot. I don't know why my hand's shaking like that. But I can tell you, from where it was to where it is now, it's a hell of a lot better now. And let me show you the action on it. Is a lot. I don't think I showed you before, but it's hard to get a hand on it here. I mean, it is running smooth, so I'm hopeful that it's going to cycle. We'll be testing that out here shortly. But what's really nice about it is very easy to take apart. I mean, it's literally like 4 screws. And yeah, I mean, it's hopefully be together by tomorrow, but it's looking a lot better, I can tell you. I'm pretty happy with where it's at, and you know, at the same time, it's just like not the greatest gun of all time, but it's a classic gun. So you know, it's got wear and tear, but it is what it is. I'm pretty pleased with the way it is, and the stock's still a little bit lighter than I was anticipating it being. I was kind of hoping for more of this color. I mean, a little bit lighter than this, but actually, let me show you the color I was actually thinking of. I was hoping it was going to be more like this color, which it may be once it gets inside, because as you can see when the sun's shining on it, in here it's definitely lighter than that. But mine's definitely still brighter, but it is what it is. If I don't like it, I can always sand it off and put some of this darker stain. This was other stuff I was going to put on there. It just looked too dark to start off with, but I got to keep thinking in my brain that it's a stain, not a paint. So it's possible we'll be switching to this, but it's also possible that I just won't think it's that worth it, because a lot of guns have those super dark, I mean dark walnut stocks on them, and not many have those lighter colors. So it is what it is. And my dad has the same gun with a darker stock, so maybe I'll keep mine light so we can differentiate the two. I don't know. At this point, everything's up in the air, but I'm pretty happy with the transformation so far. Alright, I gone ahead and done the last coat, letting it dry probably overnight. Just leave it hang here. It looks better in shade like this. It's more the color I was hoping for. The bottom side looks like this right here was really the color I was aiming for, which, you know, it's pretty close to it. As you can see, that's the original stain color. This is definitely lighter, but I like right there by the trigger, that grain looks great. So I'm really happy with that, and that's actually the side that shows when you're holding it, more than likely. So I mean, you know what, considering earlier today it was spray painted in camo, with very obvious tape lines on it. I'm happy, couldn't be happier with it. In anything, it's just kind of a fun project, you know? I've always kind of wanted to do this. My grandpa's, he's done multiple kit muzzle loaders mostly, but I've always kind of wanted to start doing something like this, and this is, you know, a place to start, I guess. It's kind of fun little deal. And I guess we'll see how it turns out tomorrow when I put it all back together. Here it is. So we brought it to the range yesterday and it did not work great. I mean, I shot maybe 4 and then it jammed up again. And I did research on a failure to discharge, and they showed me the nickel trick, which, as you can see, this thing's probably gonna need the nickel trick based on that spring right there being completely in the wrong spot. It needs to be like out here. So we'll see that. And I took this completely apart, and everything in here is just grimy. I mean, this is just from inside of this, and this part's probably never been cleaned in almost 40 years. And it was just really just crunchy, the whole slide. I mean, listen to this. Pretty crunchy, so we're gonna try to get this cleaned up and running good, and hopefully it'll run like new. Got some real pliers. Now we're gonna try to bend it in a good natural place and really actually give it some. There we go. You can fit a nickel in there. There needs to be a half a nickel bent up as well. There we go. That looks right to me, and now I guess we put it back together and see if it shoots at the range and like whenever we go again. That's what it's supposed to look like. Alright, so as you guys saw, brought it to the range and it worked just fine after that fix. So here is the after of this before and after video. So you can see quite a difference from the very first time you saw it when it was all spray painted. Now it's got a nice, it's kind of, you know, it's a light stain, but I kind of like it. It's starting to grow on me. It's pretty unique. And it makes the black look a little bit better, even though it's not perfect. There's definitely still some rust marks on it, and there's a little bit of scraping on it, but I mean, it's like a 40-year-old little rifle here, so you can't expect it to be perfect, but it functions, and it's a pretty fun gun, and it was a fun project, and I'll be shooting it pretty frequently here now that I got it working, because it is that fun. You just dump 18 rounds very quickly, or you can slow it down and be pretty precise with it. But overall, pretty fun. The action sounds when it hits a lot more solid than it did initially. I don't know if I did that at the beginning of the video or not, but it just did not used to come up and hit that hard when you would let it chamber around. So the whole thing was all gunked up, and that spring, obviously, like I showed, was bent. So if you guys have a Model 60 that has a failure to eject issue, hopefully this helped you figure it out. And if you just wanted to watch a restoration of a gun, hopefully you enjoyed watching this one. It was pretty fun to make. Hopefully get some more videos like this coming out. And with that, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.